Well, it's definitely been an interesting week of news outside of like I want to cover things other than what happened with Trump, and I will mix them in. I found some Disney news to try to mix in because I don't want people to stare into the darkness too long. But I'm down here at the RNC. I'll be going over to Tim Pool's Timcast IRL after I film this video. I'll be live on there tonight. Hopefully, you'll show me some love in chat. I did not think that we'd have this level of rhetoric going on around what was somebody that was basically, in my world, completely irrelevant to me. Now, popular in other circles, but you have the RNC, the Republican National Convention, right? It's a big deal. 50,000 people fly in for this. They have entertainers, different speakers, all this kind of stuff. One of the many, many, many speakers that were here happened to be a woman by the name of Amber Rose. She has many millions of Instagram followers or whatever. She's basically like a quote unquote model. Okay. And initially I said, guys, chill out. This isn't that big a deal. Matt Walsh tweeted this out, getting, a lot of blowback. In fact, for Matt, I would say it's rare for him to get ratioed this poorly. But I agree with him on a lot of what he says, and I'm gonna, my opinion has been changed after some reflection, after talking with Melanie Mack this morning, talking to other Christians about what their opinion is. You're essentially you're in two positions. You have people who are like Trump supporter voters like me, who are not really very religious. And don't even necessarily call themselves conservatives. People like me, my reaction is, who cares? If she gets a few thousand new people to vote, if her story resonates with people, I see that as an absolute win. I don't really care if she sells OF subscriptions or whatever. I want to win this dang thing. I want to win. There's that group of people that I'm in. Then there's the group of people who are more religious. Matt Walsh, Melanie Mack, who I do a podcast with, and we had a spirited discussion about this morning, and I absolutely see their position. Their position is being conservative has to mean something. And if we're willing to just put up anybody, so to speak, betray our own values, this is not a good thing. That essentially was what Matt Walsh boiled this down to. And at first, my position was simply, dude, chill out. It's like a 3-minute speech. And I stand by that. Is she clout grabbing? Yes. I felt a lot different. By the way, at the time, I did not know that she was still selling OF pictures and whatnot. And I also did not know that she was running literally a sale, a 50% off sale for during her time at the RNC. So if you're going to use the RNC to shill OF, I no longer support you. That was enough. I knew that many parts of her story were great. She told girls to go talk to their dads. Her story, I think, is a great one of redemption. But a lot of people point out that this is great. MAGA is different than conservatism. I am probably MAGA. I am not a conservative, although fiscally conservative. I'm pretty down the middle of the road on most other issues, but I tried my best to see all angles of things. So you have people like me who are MAGA and want Trump to win and don't necessarily are willing to overlook the fact that she's an e-whore if it means we can win a swing state. I fully look, right? I'm being honest with you. And then you have the people who are like Christian conservatives, boomer cons. Christian conservatives who have their own moral code and their own moral standard that they're applying to this. They're playing the long game. They're thinking about the afterlife. They're thinking about conservatism has to mean something. And I think that has a lot of value too. I think part of the contention is, why is the RNC platforming this person? Just so they can sell OF subscriptions. If they really wanted to come out and speak and share their story, of which, as far as I know, is one of ongoing redemption. I don't think if you're selling pictures of your beehole that I would really say you've fixed, you've changed your ways. But she has a decent story to tell. She dispels a lot of rumors about, Trump voters not liking the, people's skin color. I've never met a Trump voter has an issue with race. That doesn't mean there isn't them, but they can't be a very large part of it because there's a lot. I'm down here at the RNC. There's a lot of black folks here, a lot of them. So, I mean, her story, her opinion, I think is good. I think people on the right would have been more willing to embrace her if it was like on her Instagram or something like that and not on the actual platform. So Matt Walsh writes, the RNC gives primetime speaking slot to pro-abortion feminist and self-proclaimed whore with a face tattoo whose only claim is hooking up with rappers. Truly an embarrassment. Not a single voter will be mobilized by this person. Every single part of this first part I agree with. I 100% disagree that she will not mobilize voters. Because as I've said in the first part of this video, I believe she will. I believe she will embolden other people who have felt like it's not okay to say they support Trump, in particular black folks. It will embolden them to say they do. And that could create a sea change. And even if it's only a few thousand voters in a swing state, that could win the state. Look at how much Trump lost Wisconsin by in 2020. Look at some of the close votes. Nevada, right? You're talking about 20,000 votes one way or another. So to me, I'm just more like, man, I'm totally solely focused on November. And people who are more Christian conservative or conservative valued, their view is much longer. And so that's where the disagreement's happening. And I definitely see that. I see Matt's side, but he's wrong about her not mobilizing voters. She will. She absolutely will. And there's a certain level of gatekeeping that I think is good. Look what happened to video games. Look what happened to comic books. Look what happened to Marvel. Look what happened to your Hollywood. Every hobby that you love, we were told to stop gatekeeping, and then we let these people in and they took over and destroyed it. So I think that's a cautionary tale. Also, there is, the party for everyone is a party for no one. And people say, people rallying behind her, I think because like me, they're more like, yo, we need all the help we can get. Okay. If she wants to sell pictures of her, her beehole, that's on her. If she gets 20,000 people to vote Trump who weren't voting before, fine by me. I'm not buying her pictures. If this is all a grift for her, fine by me, as long as she mobilizes the voters. I think people are absolutely correct and fair to call this a grift because it, of course, is a grift. But sometimes two things can be true. Sometimes two things can be true at once. Ashley Sinclair writes, what are you doing to mobilize voters? Please be specific. Look, you hear here, Bryson Gray, who's a more religious guy. He's saying Matt's right. It's because people who are Christian conservatives and have religious belief aren't thinking about in terms of between now and November. They're thinking about the afterlife. They're thinking about the long play. They're thinking about the future of the conservative or Republican Party and what conservatism actually means. And conservatism isn't about selling out your values for a few extra votes. The better response to this would be to have Amber on board, not selling OF pictures, and showing her grace in bringing her in, or picking somebody else who's made the move to conservatism, who isn't currently selling pictures of their beehole. I think because I am so blinded by November, it's a blind spot for me. I don't care if she brings 200 extra voters. It was a 3-minute speech and a 4-day convention. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. Is it a slippery slope? Yes. We don't want to be the left. We don't want to bring all these weirdos in. But one of the things I tried to get Melanie to understand, one of the things I tried to get Matt Walsh to understand is that, do you want to win an election ever again? You have to make some concessions. And if you don't, then okay, then maybe an extra party, like a third or fourth party would make more sense, like a Christian conservative party, and they run a candidate. Obviously, I think everyone would agree it'd be great to not choose just between two, right? Having more than two parties in the mix, I think, would make sense, because when you start telling me, hey, this person is, making an appeal to conservatism, making an appeal to help Donald Trump win, but we should call her, we should get rid of her. I don't like that. I'm like, man, I want to win. But I understand maintaining your values. I understand wanting to have that long-term goal. And I don't think that that means I don't have values. It just means that my values are right now. And I'm worried about even having a country after November. So it's hard for me, who's not a super religious guy, to be thinking about, 500 years from now. And I know that that's a weakness. And I know that that's probably not the way to react to this. But a lot of people are saying, hey, she brings something to the party. For people like me who are not Christian conservative, we don't care that much about the OF stuff. I care about the guys buying it. So if you call yourself a conservative and you took advantage of her 50% off sale and signed up, you're the problem, not her, right? I would rather attack the problem at its source. Why are you buying her OF account? That's degenerate. Don't do that. Would I have liked to see her drop that? Yes. You see, I'm thrilled she's voting for Trump. I applaud every single person willing to stand up to the left and probably declare their support for my president. I think that's great. She's got some weird clips in the past. She's got some insane things. Is it a grift? I sure hope not. But I think Matt does bring up some fine points. He writes, maybe Rose has totally changed and she has some kind of conversion experience. There's no evidence of that. Only that she likes Donald Trump now. And there are many, many, many examples of conservatives rallying around the new celebrity hero just because a person likes Trump, only to be humiliated and betrayed by the same person shortly after. True. Remember how Kid Rock pretended he cared about stuff? He pretends he cared about Bud Light. He pretended he cared about... So, I mean, it's true. Matt is correct. But we're headed towards like a reckoning of like Christian conservative versus MAGA that I guess like I'm not really worrying about that till 2028. Because if we get Trump in 2024, he serves his term, then I'll worry about the next guy. All right. For now, I'm worried about November, and you can call me a dum-dum for that, and you may be right. I'm just being honest. That's all I can be. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe and follow down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.